Good morning, everybody. This is Ben from Philippines Extremes coming to you live outside of Cebu City in Ibabaw, Cordova. So, today I'm going to be talking to you about why some foreigners leave the Philippines. Now, first of all, these are not in any order, and these are issues that have come up over the years that I've heard people say as to why they dislike the Philippines. Me personally, none of these things bother me. To me, as I have said many times on here, all of these things are a trade-off for what I dislike in the States, which is almost everything nowadays. I won't go into the list of all those things because I've been pretty vocal about it. A lot of people come here with certain expectations, and those expectations just aren't met. I don't know what they thought, or you know, it's just kind of like when Filipinos go to the United States and they never experienced snow before, and then they experience it and they realize how cold it is, and they just want to take a selfie and get out of it because it's freezing. And of course, that's generalization. Not all Filipinos do that. So, the Philippines isn't for everybody. There are things that you deal with here that you would never deal with in the States. Um, and you just simply don't like it. So that's a very common reason why people leave here, is because they just don't like it. Another thing people complain about is what I like to call the long nose tax. So the long nose tax is, when you go to the market and you buy a kilo of fish and they charge you 220 instead of 200, or you buy bananas that are supposed to be 70 and you pay 85, for example. Or you get in a tricycle and you take the trike to the road and it costs somebody else 15 pesos, but it costs you 25 or 30. So some of these things really make people mad. They feel offended, and they feel slighted, and they take it upon themselves to get angry about it. Of course, there's all different ways to look at it, and it's going to happen to you for sure. It's going to happen to everybody who comes here for sure. But you'll find that the more time you spend in a specific area and people get used to you, that will decrease. But that's still a reason why a lot of people end up leaving. Another thing that happens and people end up leaving for, and this is pretty common, I've known quite a few people that have ended up leaving because of medical issues. Sometimes, you have something come up that requires, some extensive kind of care, and you feel that the care is inadequate here and you want to go back to the States. Sometimes they don't even want to, but they just feel like they're forced to do it. But that's a common reason why people leave, is because of medical issues. Now, another thing that people complain about a lot, and they just can't get a grasp on it and they can't handle it, is your inability to do things super fast. So you'll go to the bank and there'll be 30 people in there, and you have a simple transaction and it'll take you forever. Or you go to the grocery store and the lines are stretched all the way back to the back of the building, and everybody's cart is filled up. Sometimes they even have two carts. So that can get on people's nerves, and a lot of those places don't even have air conditioning. So you're standing in the store and there's just massive amounts of people and no way to speed it up. And your only choice is to stand in that long line. So something that might, take you 10 or 15 minutes if you went through the self-checkout in the United States, could take you upwards of an hour or two sometimes. So a lot of people get sick of that, and it just compounds everything else that they're irritated about, and they end up disliking it here because of those reasons. And then, of course, the number one issue is the money issues. So, you come here with a certain amount of money, and you've discovered that to perpetuate your kind of lifestyle is more expensive than you thought. Maybe you listen to guys like me who say you can live in the Philippines for $1,000 a month, which you can, but your style of life is a little bit more comfortable, and you want more comfortable things. So your money goes a little bit quicker. so things are a little bit more expensive than you assumed, and your money starts going down, and you realize, well, I'm going to go home and because I have no more money. So money issues are a huge deal, and that's uh, almost number one reason, although these aren't in order, as to why people might leave the Philippines is because they are starting to run out of money. And then, of course, there's the big elephant in the room, which is a girl. So you have high expectations for some girl you met, or maybe you didn't, but you came here and you ended up meeting a girl. But regardless, it's the girl. So something happens along the way, and everything falls apart. And maybe you're the kind of guy that doesn't like to play the field, and you just got set up with this one girl in your mind and didn't work out, and or maybe you spent 1 or 2 years with her and then you broke up, just whatever the scenario is. But a lot of things fall apart for guys here in the Philippines because of the girl, and they end up leaving because of that. Some cases are worse than others. Sometimes the girl and the money go hand in hand, and somebody didn't use their common sense, and they were thinking with their small head and not their big head, and they ended up you know building a house or giving a lot of money away, buying vehicles, things like that. And then next thing you know, the girl ditches him and he's left penniless. So that happens, as we all know. Another reason why people dislike the Philippines is because they can't deal with the smells. The wet market, you can smell it for a block away. There's the fish and everything. And if you've ever lived in a coastal town where there's a fish market, just picture that. That's what it's going to smell like. There's going to be that rotten kind of fish smell, and it's going to be blowing around. And if you want to go shopping, you have to walk into the market to get your fish, and that smell is permeating you, and people just dislike it. You go to a carinderia or anywhere where there's food and outdoors, there's going to be flies, and the flies are going to fly around you, and some places are worse than others. And you'll have, just the whole time you'll be swatting the flies. That's why if you see any videos of sellers, they'll have the fans with the tassels on them, and they'll be going like this constantly. Well, that's what they're doing. They're fanning away all the flies. So, a lot of these things gross people out. They not used to those kind of sanitation issues that you see here, as opposed to your home country where you don't see those things, and people just get tired of it. So there's the brownouts that occur, and it depends on what area you live in. Sometimes they're more frequent. Like I've been here for almost 8 months now, and we haven't had a single one. So just depends, but when a brownout occurs, then you don't have any air conditioning, and you're no internet, and those things can really, really frustrate a person. So that's also a reason why people dislike the Philippines and decide to eventually leave. And like I showed you in the video of me walking through Lapu-Lapu, sometimes the rain causes floods. And people don't like having to navigate through that kind of stuff all the time. And that happens quite frequently depending on where you live. So those things can compound on a person and really make them have a distaste for being here. So those are some of the reasons why foreigners end up leaving the Philippines. Some of those reasons are more preference, more how you handle, the differences, and then other things are unavoidable. But those are what I've heard over the years as the most common things that people end up leaving for. And, if you're going to come here, you shouldn't have this utopian kind of view of the place, because there are downsides that a lot of people don't talk about, and I don't really even talk about many of them. But for me, I've lived here so long that those things don't bother me. But that's not the case for a lot of people. So everybody's different, and not everybody's gonna, not everybody likes chocolate. I mean, I don't know why. Those people are maybe a little bit crazy, but not everybody likes ice cream. What? So guys, keep those things in mind, because Philippines isn't for everybody, unfortunately. So those are the reasons why a lot of foreigners end up leaving the Philippines. So thanks for watching. And please consider liking and subscribing to my channel and dropping a comment. Those things really help the channel grow. Have a good day and God bless.